I would not wear like a satin shirt to make pizza. That is brave. That is confidence right there. To wear such a nice and like difficult to clean outfit while you're making some sticky pizza dough. I would never do that. That's confidence right there. Like not even an apron either. That's brave, I have to say. Hello and welcome back to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. In this video we're going to be mining Arabic cooking YouTube for comprehensible input. This is a method I've talked about previously, both on streams and in a few videos. Before we get stuck into learning Arabic from pizza, and vice versa, I wanted to give a few pointers on selecting this kind of material for language acquisition purposes. Good production values are important. You want audio that's easy on the ear and camera work that shows you what's going on as it's being described in your target language. That's important because this sort of passive learning occurs when your brain is able to make sense out of your target language based on the overall context, including, crucially, the visual context. In order for that to work, you need to be able to see what's going on at the same time as you're hearing about it. 2. It doesn't hurt to pick things you already know a thing or two about. The more prior external knowledge you bring to this process, the easier it will be for your brain to start making sense out of the target language content you're viewing. For example, I know a fair bit about how to make a good pizza, so pizza videos are ideal for me. Also, I really like pizza. If you're interested in a good book on how to make pizza, check out Tony Gemignani's Pizza Bible. The links for the book and for the videos we'll be looking at here can be found in the description. 3. I translate the words I understand out loud when I do this on stream, but that's not something that you need to do, and it's not even something that's particularly helpful. Ideally, you want to stay within your target language and avoid translating things explicitly. And lastly, let me just take this opportunity to tell you about another project I'm working on, the INESSA ARMAND translation project. For the past several months, I've been translating the essays, speeches, and letters of INESSA ARMAND, the first head of the Bolshevik women's section. Her works had been suppressed by Stalin and never translated into English until now. In order to cover the cost of translating and editing these important historical works, I'm trying to raise a total of $8,500, of which I have now raised $3,854. All support, including signal boosting the project, is much appreciated. You can find the draft translations of the 34 INESSA ARMAND essays I've translated so far on my Patreon page. The link to that page, as well as another link to for anyone who wishes to make a donation to the project, can be found in the description. That said, let's get stuck in. Okay, and now we're going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to look at some resources for Arabic comprehensible input, and just see, I mean, this is kind of auditioning them. I haven't really looked at them very much, and we're going to see whether they're good, and talk a little bit about what makes them good, and also they should be interesting. If you like chess, if you like pizza, they are also going to be interesting in that regard, because they are all about making pizza and playing chess. Let's pop this a little bit wider. Pop this a little bit wider. I don't know if that works. Yeah, I think I am going to make soup tonight. I think you've sold me on the idea. We'll start out. This is Chef L'Rubi, and this is going to be about making pizza. Now, the key, I like to use cooking videos for comprehensible input, because, first of all, I like cooking related stuff. It's just 480p, that's a pity. For another thing, how-to type content I'm going to drop the link to this video in the chat right now, is they do stuff, and they talk about doing it, and they show you that they're doing it at the same time. And that's very useful for trying to build up comprehension of a language, because if they're talking about the thing they're doing as they're doing it and showing you that they're doing it, then your brain can start to make those connections. Interesting music to be making. We have with the pizza video. That's like, that's Japanese. That's Japanese traditional music there. Oh, it's really a pity this is only 480p, because it looks like the crumb on this is really good. Very airy, but you don't have that level of detail at 480p. You really need 8D for that. Nande Nihono.
شفتوا الجناب كيف نفخات؟ ما شاء الله ما شاء الله ما شاء الله. اهلا وسهلا خوتي وخواتاتي، تحياتي. بغيت ننصحكم باش تتبعوا الفيديو لقطه بلقطه باش ما تدوش عليكم شي لقطه اللي هي.
Okay, what have we got? شاركوا الفيديو مع إحبابكم. إحبابكم. I guess that's a like, maybe? البرداج في أي مكان قتلا وليس أمرا. Okay, I don't quite understand. أي مكان is like anywhere. مكان is place.
هي تكون مهمة في نجاح العجينة. أهلا وسهلا خوتي وخواتاتي، تحياتي لكم أينما كنتم، ونتمنى من الله هذا الفيديو يلقاكم في الصحة والسلامة إن شاء الله وطال.
Volume needs a little bit of adjusting, I think. Sound, that's another thing. You want to have something with good audio, and the audio on this is not entirely great.
كيف ديما كتطلبوني على حساب البيتزا.
El pizza. I think we all know what that is. Hey, SD8N. Well, I'm kind of learning. Yeah, I mean, Levantine is kind of what I'm focusing on. Shami. But also MSA, because MSA is just what I'm, you know, I get a lot of MSA through watching, like, news videos and stuff. Where are you joining us from? Now you mention it, I do remember your name.
اللي هي كتشوفوا عندي اللي كنديرها في المطعم فين كنشتغل انايا، شي ما كنبغيش
مطعم the restaurant
نوريها لكم، لكن اي حاجه كتبغي الوقت ديالها. البيتزا كتبغي الوقت وكتبغي الخاطر لهذا. بغيت ننصحكم باش تتبعوا الفيديو لقطه بلقطه باش ما تدوش عليكم شي لقطه اللي هي تكون مهمه في النجاح ديال العجينه. العجينه اللي هي الحاجه الوحيده اللي نوصيكم عليها، ما يمكنش ليكم ما ديروهاش.
نيويورك repeated New York or like upstate.
على حقها وطريقها. الا درتي العجينه مزيانه اي حاجه درتيها الفوق ما يهمش، يعني البنه غادا تكون في العجينه. لهذا غنخليكم تشوفوا المقادير والطريقه ديال العجينه اللي غادي نوريكم اليوم. ما تنسوش الاشتراك.
عجينه I believe is dough.
والجمال والعافيه جام كثروا منا. ديروا لي كيف بغيتوا. باش نصاوب نبداو بنص لتر ديال الماء دافي، نص كاس ديال الزيت الزيتون.
زيت زيتون, that is olive oil. And let me say, if you ever get a chance to try Palestinian olive oil, that stuff is incredible. That's like the best olive oil I've had in ages. I picked up some from a company called Al Ard, based apparently in Nablus, but they have a distributor based in Pennsylvania. And their olive oil is like next level. It is delicious. So زيت زيتون, olive oil.
إذا كان حر غادي تخلطوه مع شوية ديال الزيت الرومية. عندي 2 غرامات ونص ديال الخميرة هذيك الغبرة. نتوما
خميرة. I mean that is yeast we're looking at, dry yeast.
ممكن لكم ديروا 3 غرامات من هذيك العادية حيت دابا ولا شوية البرد. هنا السنيدة عندي 2 غرامات، ممكن لكم ديروا عويشق ديال العسل في بلاصة السنيدة. الملحة الرقيقة عندي 15 غرام. 700 غرام ديال الفارينة أو الفورس.
Farina. Interesting. That is the Italian word for flour. And
الأبيض اللي كيتباع في أي مكان في المغرب. أنا هذا جاني من المغرب.
you get anywhere in the Maghrib, so northwest Africa, Morocco. This is, so you said farina abyad, so white flour. See, one of the reasons this also works is because making pizza is a thing I know how to do. Not like a master pizzaiola by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm pretty good at it. I make good pizza. And so what he just said would have been that you're reserving some of that water, which you do because you want to slosh it around in the bowl that has the yeast, the water yeast mixture, in order to get all of the dissolved yeast off of the bowl.
والسنيدة عطيته في البداية نضيفو أكثر من نصف ديال الفارينة وغادي نبداو نخلطو.
نصف بالفارينة, so half of the flour. Wow, he's using a whisk. I would not use a whisk for that. That is a pain in the ass because that mixture is going to stick so much to the whisk. It's impossible to get it all out.
غير بشوية، لأن في هذه المرحلة هذه فين كيبدا يتكون الجلوتين هو اللي ما كيخليش البيتزا تقطع.
Okay. El gluten, I think we all know what that is. I have to say, I'm finding the audio quality distracting. Because, I mean, one thing, when you're, like, particularly when you're starting out in a language, you really want good audio. I mean, ideally, you'd also want subtitles, which this does not offer. Either subtitles in your target language or subtitles in a language you already know. That is very helpful. And this doesn't really have that, so... Let's move on. This is not the best example of how to do this. We've got others. We're going to look at another pizza video.
يا ترى فينا نساوي بيتزا بنفس الجودة تبع المحلات بالبيت؟ وهلا رح نطلب بيتزا
في البيت, at home. Okay, better video quality, even if the aspect ratio is like mobile phone style. Better audio quality, already good things. Let me see, what's the subtitle situation here? What have we got? Okay, so we've got auto-generated Arabic, and then we've got like machine translation, which often is useless. It's often useless, but okay.
بيتزاي من مطعم بيتزا بيشتهر بالبيتزا ونشوف بتصير نفسها معنا
مطعم pizza restaurant, pizzeria.
بالبيت استوى الرزق يا قلبي. يلا خلينا نشوف. بسم الله. يا سلام على هالنغم. لنساوي بيتزا نفس تبع المحلات علينا نختار نوع طحين يكون جيد. يعني يكون نوع طحين بروتينه عالي متعدد الاستخدام.
بروتينه عالي.
وإذا كان أبيض زيرو بيكون أحسن. عنا 4 كاسات طحين وهي الكاسة الخامسة. الكاسة اللي عم بستعملها حجم 200 ميلي، يعني كل كاسة بتساوي 200 ميلي مي.
200 ميلي. So milli is, I guess, milligrams. Yeah, it doesn't work. That doesn't look like milligrams. That looks like grams.
و100 غرام طحين، يعني صار مقدار عنا نص كيلو. للنص كيلو طحين بدنا معلقة سكر كبيرة، وبدنا معلقة ملح صغيرة، وزرف خميرة 10 جرام.
زرف خميرة إسرا gram would be okay. So zarf khamira, I guess, would be yeast, because he's pouring yeast in there, and it's 10 grams. And it's the only thing that looks like 10. That there's 10 grams of everything else.
هلا بنحرك أول شي بالمعلقة.
بحرك أول شيء معلقة. Okay, he turns the qaf into like a glottal stop. So Jordanian maybe.
وهلا هيك بعد ما مسكت العجينة معنا شوي بنشيلها وبننزلها على الطاولة. وهلا بنبلش دعك وعجن فيها كثير منيح. عجينة المعجنات دائما والبيتزا بدها دعك وعجن مزبوط. طبعا اللي عنده عجانة أكيد يشتغل بالعجانة أفضل، واللي ما عنده على إيده. وهلا هيك بعد ما دعكنا العجن.
Oh god, hand kneading. Wow, it doesn't look like it, when you do it at first. It looks like it's going to make a huge mess, but as you work the gluten, it does start picking the stuff up again. But wow, it will make your arms tired.
معنا مزبوط وصارت معنا ناعمة مثل الراحة. هون شو بدها تقريبا معلقتين زيت أبيض. طبعا فيكم تحطوا زيت زيتون، هذا الشيء حسب
زيت أبيض.
وهلا بندعكها بالزيت لحتى يختفي معنا الزيت. ويا سلام على هالعجينة، شوها يا هيك العجينة يا غلا. شوفوا لي النعومة، شوفوا لي مثل الراحة. خسة هي خسة. هلا بتقطعوا العجينة تبعكم على حجم اللي بدكم اياه. انا بدي ساوي الصينية تبعي قطرة 30 سم تقريبا. بدي لكل صينية 300 غرام. 300 غرام بهذا المقاس. حساوي لكم واحدة محشية الأطراف وواحدة عادية. طبعا هيك بتحطوه على كف الإيد.
طبعا. That was a word we yesterday. If you were here yesterday, we were looking at a video from Learn Arabic with Maha. She was talking about various like colloquial expressions that everybody constantly uses in Levantine Arabic, and one of them was "tab'an," which is like completely or something like that. Of course, it means of course.
وبس بلش تغلي معنا البندورة بنضيف نص معلقة ملح كبيرة وربع معلقة فلفل أسود. نعمل لهم تقليبة.
فلفل أسود. Black pepper.
اتركون لتنشف ميتهم معنا ويعقدوا. هلا بعد ما نشفت ميتهم وعقدوا معنا بنجيب معلقة كبيرة دبس بندورة ومعلقة كبيرة دبس فلفل حلوة.
Yeah, okay. You don't really get a good look at what he's putting in there some of the time, which does make it a bit difficult to like make the connections. Like I can't tell what that is.
ومعلقة كبيرة كاتشب.
Ketchup.
هدول وظيفتهم تعزيز للنكهة. وهلا بننزل معلقة.
Yo, what the fuck are you putting ketchup in there? It's a pizza sauce. First of all, like pizza sauce.
أوريجانو. نتركهم يغلوا شي 5 دقايق وهيك صار عنا.
You know, I've got a great focaccia recipe. There's an amazing book that I would highly recommend to anyone who likes making like pizza and related bread type things. It's called The Pizza Bible by Tony Gemignani. And every recipe in there that I've tried has been incredible, and I've worked through a lot of them. I've done, like, the New York pizza dough is really good. They got a focaccia in there that's really good. The Chicago deep dish, which I just recently tried out, was excellent.
صوص جاهز من أطيب صوصات البيتزا، جربوه على كفاءتي الخاصة. وهلا بعد اختمروا العجينات عنا وتضاعف حجمهم بنجيب صواني البيتزا اللي بنشتغل فيهم. عندي هدول الصينيتين بنعمل لهم دهنة زيت خفيفة جدا. هلا بنجيب الشوبك اللي عنا، بنجيب العجينات.
And then he's using a rolling pin.
Okay, interesting. مثل الراحة، مثل الخسة يا جماعة.
This is a style of pizza dough I have never heard of. I have literally never heard of a pizza dough that has butter and egg in it. I don't know, maybe it's good, but, like, every pizza dough, like, the closest thing I know, well, no, actually, butter, yes. Chicago-style pizza has butter, and depending on whether you want to do a veggie version or, like, a traditional version, either it has lard or, like, veg shortening, like Crisco in it.
وعلى ايدكم من دون اي شوبة.
In fact, I mean, maybe I'll drop that, maybe I'll drop the focaccia recipe in the Discord later. So that was one we're checking out. Let's see what, let's look at some others. Shami Chef. Okay, specifically Levantine Chef is the name of this. So that one had some pluses on it. Okay, very pretty pizza. And apparently, I mean, the name, Levantine's right in the name, so I think we can be fairly certain we're getting Levantine Arabic, which is what I'm most interested in.
هون شوفوا على هالبيتزاية بسم الله ما شاء الله شوف بسم الله 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 شايفين على مطة الجبنة الله هذا هو
الجبنة the cheese
الخرافي الصح شوف بسم الله ما شاء الله
I have to say it looks like the cheese might have dried out a little bit.
غوالي خليني ورجيكم معلم البيتزا كيف لازم تكون بيتزايته شوفوا على هالمنظر يا أهلا وسهلا بنور العين شو أخباركم
Now he speaks fast. I mean, by my standard of speech for Arabic, which is partially the result of the fact that there's a lot I don't understand yet. And there's no subs on it, unfortunately. On the other hand, good video quality, it's HD. Fairly simple camera work. So let's have a look at this one. Because, I mean, remember, one of the other things we're looking for is visual quality. Let me drop you the link here. Because what's important for looking at these things from a language learning, language acquisition perspective, is your eyes and your ears need to be able to coordinate. Your eyes need to be seeing what your ears are hearing about.
عنكم صراحة أنا اليوم جاي على نفسي أسوي لكم عجينة بيتزا غير شكل لأنه
عجينة بيتزا دو
من الشحم واللحم بدنا نسوي عجينة بيتزا وبدنا نسوي بيتزا الفصول الأربعة يعني خضار بدون لحم اليوم بالنسبة لعجينة اليوم يا غوالي عجينة سهلة وبسيطة مكوناتها موجودة
سهلة بسيطة simple
بكل بيت وبإذن الله رح تنجح معكم رح تطلع معكم بيتزا غير شكل طبعا أول شيء يا غوالي بدنا الطحين لأنه
I would not wear like a satin shirt to make pizza. That is brave. That is confidence right there. To wear such a nice and like difficult to clean outfit while you're making some sticky pizza dough. I would never do that. That's confidence right there. Like not even an apron either. That's brave, I have to say.
بنحطها هيك جوات الزبدية وبنحط الكاسة الثانية عشان نحط باقي المكونات.
كاسة الثانية. So I guess a second cupful.
هلا ما بقي إلا القليل يا غوالي. أول شيء عندي هون معلقة ونص سكر. السكر
He speaks very clearly and the audio quality is good. That kind of makes up for the fact that he's speaking quite quickly. And there aren't any like visuals on here, like there isn't any text on the screen. Personally, I find it's ideal to have text on the screen.
جدا مهم عشان يعطيها لون التأميرة للبيتزا من تحت. وعندي هون كمان معلقة كبيرة من الخميرة. الخميرة كمان
خميرة. Okay, خميرة. We've learned that's yeast. الخميرة yeast.
بدنا نخمرها كمان للعجينة هي نقطة جدا مهمة وكمان بدنا رشة ملح يا غوالي رشة صغيرة مو كتير بهذا الشكل وآخر شيء
شكر that's an easy one that's sugar. So many languages that aren't even related to each other have basically the same word for sugar. Like I mean the Indo-European languages they're practically all something like sugar, azúcar. Oh no one Azúcar. Usually when you have an at the beginning of a Spanish word like that, it's often because it comes from Arabic, except in Arabic they say shakkar. Interesting. Sakhar in Russian, zucker,
نضيفه نص معلقة كبيرة من البيكنج باودر. البيكنج باودر هون مهم جدا بهذا الشكل مثل ما شايفين. هيك بيكون تمام. هلا بنقلبهم مع بعض كتير منيح بهذا الشكل. بحرك احتمال تستخدم اكثر من كميه المي.
If he hasn't done it yet. I mean, a lot of the time when you're making pizza dough, there is salt in it. But since the salt is a restricting agent in terms of restricting the growth of the yeast and the eating of the yeast, you let the yeast do its thing and then you put the salt in a lot of the time.
اللي انا حاطه بالكاسه هذا بيرجع لحسب
Whereas the sugar gives the yeast something special to eat. And also, I mean, this is a pizza related tip. This is a thing I've learned actually from Tony Gemignani's The Pizza Bible. See, he does not often put sugar in the thing. You know, sometimes there's sugar in it. But what he often uses is something called diastatic malt, which you can get from King Arthur baking supplies. It's kind of expensive. It's like you get a little container of it for like $17. You can get maybe 6 or 7 pizzas out of it. So I mean, it's worth it. But what it does is add to the browning of the crust. And if you don't have diastatic malt, sugar can do a similar thing.
مثل ما اتفقنا. طبعا هلا مثل ما انتم شايفين يا غوالي لمت معي العجينه بهذا الشكل. طبعا اخذت كاسه وربع من المي.
I guess maybe I mean, if he put salt in, I missed it. But this you wouldn't be putting salt in now, I don't think.
هلا بفضل معلقه هيك كثير منيح من العجينه وبطالعها على سطح نظيف وبنبدا ندعك فيها.
Yeah. If there was salt,
بدنا نحرك الجلوتين. زيت الزيتون جدا مهم. بإمكانكم تستخدموا
جدا مهون. زيت زيتون جدا مهون. Olive oil is very important.
الزيت النباتي إذا بتحبوه.
Fun fact, in Georgian they almost have the exact same word for olive oil, except they reverse it to fit Georgian syntax. So they say zeytuni zeti. Wow, he did all of that kneading and mixing by hand, and he's got nothing, and his hands are clean. And I don't think he's actually cut. So somehow he managed to do it, and nothing on that shirt. Amazing. You can tell when I've made pizza because there are like big white patches all over the place.
صوص بهذا الشكل حوالي معلقتين كبار.
They are amazing, specifically for I think he's got like, no, it isn't the same model as we have here. We got really, really lucky. There was one that was like on closeout, I think because nobody liked the color or something like that, because it's an amazing unit. And I mean, it's great. Especially for making pizza sauce.
هلا بنجيب الصوص اللي عنا وبنحطه بالطنجرة. بدنا نخليه ياخذ حرارة شوي يتبخر شوي.
Okay, so this is not a raw. I mostly work with raw pizza sauces. They're raw until you put them in the oven and they get cooked with everything else. Though with the Chicago style recipe that I used when I made it recently, you don't actually you don't put the sauce into the oven. You put the sauce on after you take it out of the oven.
لا ما شاء الله. بما انه اسم الفصول الاربعه لازم نحط لها 4 مكونات من الخضار. انا عندي
4 مكونات for something. مكون. Interesting. It's not مقاوم, which means a resistance fighter. مكونة. Okay. 4 مكونات. Okay, we're gonna find out, I guess, what 4 مكونات are. Look for something that comes in 4s, chat. And we're going to find out what مكونة means.
عندي هون اول شيء الفطر اللي هو المشروم. بامكانكم
تستخدموا. Okay, apparently the word for mushroom is just mushroom. I guess that makes sense. It's like structurally mushroom works as an Arabic word. Mushroom, it's like a passive adjective. Musharram mushroom. Yumshram. Ana umshram. Anta tumshram. Tumshrami. Mushroom. Okay. So apparently they just it's just the English word mushroom. Interesting. And is that corn? Okay, mukawinat. Arba mukawinat. I think we see what comes in fours. Toppings or ingredients, because we got al mushroom, we got al filfil, the peppers there, zaytun, the olives that looks like, and then I don't know what the word for corn is, but that looks like corn, which I've only ever seen on pizza in Japan, and I don't get it there either. I mean, corn is on pizza, like the last time I was in Japan, which is a long time ago, but corn was all over pizza. I'd never heard of it before that.
استخدموا الفطر المعلب، ترجع على حسب الرغبه، لكن رح استخدم الطازج لانه بيعطي نكهه عن جد جباره. وعندي هون شويه ذره مثل ما انتم شايفين بيعطوا لون ونكهه للبيتزا عن جد شيء خرافي. والاهم عندي هون شويه زيتون اسود، وبامكانكم تستبدلوا
زيتون اسود, black olives. I don't know if I'm just weird, but I love olive oil, but I cannot stand olives. Like olives, like black olives in particular, taste like rubber to me. But I absolutely adore olive oil.
دلو بالاخضر بترجع على حسب الرغبه. وعندي هون كمان شويه فلفله حلوه من
فلفله is I guess the plural filfil. Okay, so filfil, mushroom, zaytun, and I don't know what I didn't catch this word for corn.
بهذا الشكل. وهلا بدنا نبدا بتقطيع الخضار، بس قبل ما نقطع الخضار اكتبوا لي بالتعليقات انتم شو تشكيله الخضار اللي بتحبوها على الفصول الاربعه. بالنسبه
And the thing about this, like I'm sort of translating as I go, as I understand things, which is not necessarily how you want to use this when you're specifically using it for yourself. I'm doing that for like your benefit and the benefit of anyone watching this in the VOD. But what's going on here is you're drawing these connections mentally. A lot of what goes on is unconscious. You will not, and the ideal stuff, you're not going to understand everything. You're going to understand some things. Some of those things you already knew beforehand, and some of those things you know, understand because of the way that the input is structured, like the way you have visuals and stuff like that. So, and the process is very unconscious. Your brain is just making these connections and you don't even know what's going on. Don't know if I've ever had a pickled olive, but I love some olive oil.
للمشروم لازم نقطعه قطع كتير رقيقة. طبعا يا غواي ليش احنا لازم نقطع المشروم كتير رقيق؟ الاول كل الخضار لازم تكون كتير رقيقة، لانه هلا وقت ندخل البيتزا بالفرن، الفرن رح يكون على اعلى حرارة، يعني البيتزا ما رح تقعد وقت طويل بالفرن، لازم تكون الخضار رقيقة عشان تستوي معها. هلا احنا بنقطع المشروم بهذا الشكل. هلا مثل اللي حورجيكم لازم يكون بهذا المنظر، يعني هيك رقته بيكون تمام. خلينا نقيم المشروم نحطه هون بالزبديه عشان نترك مكان لنا بهذا الشكل. وهلا بدنا نقطع الفليفله كمان رقيقه قد ما فيكم رقيقه عشان تستوي مثل ما اتفقنا بهذا الشكل.
Oh, I learned a way easier way to cut capsicum, to cut bell peppers. There's this YouTube channel that does like knife skills. And if you have a halfway decent knife, it can be a tomato knife, it can be a chef's knife, it can be like a santoku, doesn't matter. There is an amazingly easy way to like cut all of the like veins and crap out of bell pepper in one go, just by rotating it around. And it is the coolest thing ever, because all you get is the outer like shell of it, and it just comes out as like one big roll, like you're peeling an apple. Well, I mean, really, you put some garlic in something, and I that would kind of make me like it, because I love garlic.
وهلا شو بنعمل؟ أول شيء بنجيب شوية طحين من اللي عنا وبنرشهم هيك على سطح.
في هذا he says في هذا شكل a lot. And now I'm beginning, like, does that mean like in this way maybe or something? Fi is in, hada is this. Shekel, I'm really not sure. But maybe it's way. مش عارفه.
نضيف بهذا الشكل مثل ما انتم شايفين. وهلا بنبدا نقرص العجينه اللي عندنا. شوفوا العجينه بسم الله ما شاء الله ولا اروع. بنقرصها بهذا الشكل ونحطها هيك جنبنا وبنرش عليها
بهذا الشكل again
كمان بهذا الشكل. هلا يا غوالي شو بدنا نعمل؟ اول شيء بنجيب شويه طحين وبنفردها على سطح نظيف مثل ما انتم شايفين. هلا بدنا نفرد البيتزا، بنحطها بهذا الشكل، بنفردها بايدينا بهذا الشكل. وهلا بنبدا نفردها بشكل دائري مستطيلي على الشكل اللي انتم بتحبوه. في اني احط لها شويه طحين بهذا الشكل وافردها عليها بهذا الشكل مشان العجينه.
Yeah, I mean the more I listen, it's like everything is في هذا الشكل. So I'm beginning to think he means this way or like this. Just because I can't think, because there's nothing else that is consistent except that he's doing a thing. So I think في هذا الشكل is like this.
وتحط عليها تساعدني انه تفرد العجينه بكل سهوله. اذا ما عندكم صينيه تيفال بامكانكم تحطوا ورق الزبده او الزيت، بترجع على حسب الرغبه. هلا بحمل العجينه بهذا الشكل وبحطها على الصينيه
بهذا الشكل
وبحاول اخذ شكل الصينيه بهذا الشكل. شوف بسم الله ما شاء الله عجينه ولا اروع وكثير سهل الاستخدام فيها. هلا فردنا كل الاغراض قدامنا مثل ما انتم شايفين يا غوالي. واول شيء بنجيب صوص البيتزا. شوفوا على
and the shirt still has nothing on it. Like look at all the stuff he's working with, the olive oil, the tomatoes, all like lots of stuff with like juice and splattery stuff and flour, and that like silk or satin shirt, not a thing on it. I would be terrified.
على هالمنظر بسم الله ما شاء الله بنحمل هيك كيف بنحطه هيك وبنبدا نفرده بهذا الشكل مثل ما انتم شايفين. واهم شيء نترك تقريبا نص سنتي بعيد عن الحافه، لان هلا وقت ندخله على الفرن ما بده يحترق ويعطي لون سواد لا قدر الله، لان بسبب الفرن بيعطي احيانا سواد لان هي بندوره. نيجي لعند حبيبنا الفطر وبناخذ منه شوي وبنفرده بهذا الشكل. طبعا مثل ما انتم شايفين
بهذا الشكل. Like now I hear it every single time. This is part of why this stuff works. This is part of why this works, because you start to notice things, you start to notice these repetitions, you notice these patterns, and your brain starts to zero in on them. And once you start to lock in on what one thing means, that makes it easier to start making sense out of the rest of the stuff that's around it.
شيء خرافي على الآخر. أخيرا ما
Now I'm believing, I mean, he says a lot of blessings. That's what he's saying is like, like, let me back it up.
ان شاء الله بيعطوا الوان متناسقه بشكل مو طبيعي، شيء خرافي على الاخر. اخيرا ما بنضيف الوان عند الذره، بناخذ شويه ذره هيك وبنرش ونشوف بسم الله ما شاء الله بيعطوا الوان
بسم الله ما شاء الله. And now I'm beginning to think that, because he says that like every time he puts something on, and I'm beginning to think that the blessing is perhaps partially a prayer to keep all of this stuff off of his nice shirt.
الله بنوزعه بهذا الشكل. وباقي اخر خطوه شو هي؟ شويه جبنه. ليش بنحط هي اخر نقطه؟
شويه جبنه، a little bit of cheese.
وزع عليهم بهذا الشكل مشان تمسك الخضار. ما بدنا الخضار بس نطالع على البيتزا نقسم البيتزا نحملها يوقعوا الخضار، لا هي الجبنه بتمسكهم مع بعض بتشبكهم تشبيك. شغلينه قبل.
I see a surface to a baking surface like this, and I'm like worried it's either going to stick or it's going to be a little bit underdone on the bottom. I like to use, and this is a recommendation from Tony Gemignani, he does not sponsor this stream, let me be clear. This is not a sponsored stream. The lighting is a giveaway. Although it's improved. I realized I had something that I could use to give me some backlighting on top of my front and side lighting. So it's a little bit more even than it usually is. But he recommends there are these things called pizza steels. A heavy ass slab of steel that you stick in your oven, you preheat it for an hour to the max temperature of your oven, and then you put the pizza on top of that, and it sears the hell out of the bottom, and it's wonderful.
بسم الله ما شاء الله. شايفين جبنا كيف عم تلعب لعب الله.
I'll say my cheese often looks better than this. I mean, it looks good. I'm sure that tastes good, except for the black olives, which I just can't stand. I guess if you love black olives, you probably do really well.
الله الله الله.
But I think he's using a
وهلا هون شوفوا على هالبيتزاية بسم الله ما شاء الله. شوف بسم الله 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 الله. شايفين على
but it still gets a nice elasticity.
هذا هو الشيء الخرافي الصح. شوف بسم الله ما شاء الله. وهلا شوفوا على هالمنظر بسم الله ما شاء الله. انت ليش نازل لهون؟ انا ما عاد فيني استناكي. بسم الله يا كريم. قربوا لهون لورجيكم العجينه. شوفوا بسم الله ما شاء الله. شوفوا الله 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 هيك بنحملها يا الله. عم تشط وتمط بسم الله يا كريم. هي القطعه الثانيه يا غوالي الله. وبهيك يا غوالي وصلنا لنهايه فيديو اليوم. اذا عجبكم الفيديو
And still, like, he picks it up, no plate under it. Still nothing on that shirt. Like, amazing.
لا تنسوا تعطيني
Absolutely amazing.